Hey everybody, welcome back to Lean by Doing podcast. I'm Brian, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about my 3 biggest traps that I have found during my lean implementation, and I'm going to give you 3 tips on how to accelerate your lean implementation. So, let's go. If you're new to the channel or this is your first time listening to my podcast, let me give you a quick timeline of what lean has looked like for us. We started our transition about 10 months ago, and we are accelerating every single day. We've gained a lot of attention from the outside world asking, hey, how have you done this so quickly? And what are some tips you can give me? Now, it's really great to be able to say, hey, you're going to be able to do this the same way I have, but none of our implementations are going to be the same. And just because mine went a little faster, I'm still running into roadblocks, and I've still found areas that have hung me up. And those are the things I want to talk about first. I'm going to give you 3 traps that I have found during my lean implementation that have held us up. Number 1, you're expecting it to happen fast, or you expect it to follow your timeline. It's never going to happen. It's on its own timeline, and it's only going to go as fast as your team allows it to move. Lean is very fickle. And when I say that, I mean it moves around every single day. One day, you may feel like you have a really good grasp of what lean is, and you're making really good progress, and you're making the changes that you want. And then the next minute, it completely changes, and things are off the rails, and you're trying to get it back on the rails today. And that is one thing that I didn't know was going to be the case. I figured it would be more linear, but it actually is just this up and down. It's like unevenness in your business, right? You're just chasing this smooth line. Maybe as you get more advanced into the systems and the processes and everything is there to support it, it's going to even out. But right now, everything seems to be a roller coaster, up and down, up and down, up and down. And when you do hit those areas of plateau, you often start questioning, why are we stalled? Why is it like this? Where are the bad? Where's the good? So you get really caught up in this thing that lean is just so fickle and it moves around all the time. The next point of this is that lean takes time and growth takes time. And you may feel like you have a really good grasp on how this is going to move forward, but you're going to hit spots where you literally just stop growing, and you're going to have staff that stops growing. It's really easy to get them into lean and into the new stuff because there's so much information. But when you kind of level up to the next level, the information either becomes more difficult to digest or harder to find. And because of that, you're going to see a slowdown. So you're going to get this rapid growth from your team, your staff. They're going to grow really quickly. And then all of a sudden, you're going to see them cap. And then at that point, you're going to start to go, what? Why did they stop growing? Why aren't they moving forward? Same with yourself. If you're not spending time going to the next level, to kind of map it out for them, it's going to be very hard to take them along. So you do need to be ahead of them, but you also need to be in a position where you can translate to them. Because as things get more difficult and things get harder, as it gets harder, you're going to have to be able to communicate that to your team and show them what it means, how it feels, and what that next level looks like. So this is where coaching really has to come into play. Next, systems and processes take time. They don't happen overnight, and you're not going to get it to happen on your timeline. As you're trying to work through your flow, which you may never have done ever in your life, you're going to find that you don't have all the processes and systems in place to support it. And you're going to have to stop and fix things as you go to get them to where they'll actually work. And you may think that your system is super robust, but you may find out that your next improvement actually shows how weak it really is. And that's the thing about continuous improvement. You may make a change or an upgrade in your system or your process, and then you make another one, and now this one's below, and you're gonna have to bring it up. So it's this constant step. And you would love to be able to just affect one area and leave and then never have to come back to it, but that's not how it works. You start that area moving forward, then you gotta move to the next spot, move it forward, and the next spot, and move it forward, and you eventually have to go back and start back over, bringing the other areas up. And it's a really frustrating process, and you think that, hey, I'm just going to be able to figure this out right away, but there's so much learning that goes into play that you won't have the answers right away, and you're not going to be able to make it work right away. You're going to have to work at it every single day, and it's going to be frustrating, and it's going to be hard, but hey, I think that's what we signed up for. The number 2 trap that I fell into, and I feel like many people fall into, is they think that everybody's just going to get it. Like we're doing lean, I understand it. I had my light bulb moment. Now I'm expecting everybody else to have their light bulb moment at this very time or very soon because I'm running out of patience. And there are going to be some people that just don't get it. And that's a real frustrating thing to understand when you're going through a lean transformation. You often have to remember that your employees are not the business owner. So to expect them to care at the level you care is a big, tall ask. And you may have some employees that are really engaged and they're going to buy in like you're buying in, but to expect them to marinate every single weekend and every hour of sleep is thinking about your lean implementation, it's just not realistic. And you have to drop that expectation, and you have to understand that you're going to be more passionate than everybody else, and you're going to be the driving force to push it forward. And you can't expect other people to just join you on that journey because they're not the business owner. They don't reap the same rewards that you do. So it's going to be something that you find is a little bit lonely. At times you may feel like you're on an island or maybe just a peninsula because there are some people that are connecting at the level that you are. But just understand this is a lonely path going forward, and it's going to take a lot of effort from yourself and a lot of mental strength from yourself. The next part of this is that culture takes time, and you may be in your building and not visiting other places. And because of that, you don't understand the time it takes for your culture to develop. Now, I saw this when I went to Ireland. I saw companies doing lean for 4 years, 8 years, and their culture is so much more mature than mine that's 10 months in. Now, you may find a lean implementation and visit, and they may be 2 years in, and they may be a larger company than you. And because of that, your culture might look stronger than theirs. However, it still tends to take time to develop, and people take time to develop. For people to just understand and start thinking lean, it has to take time. They're not going to pick it up overnight, and they're not going to change overnight, but the whole entire culture as a whole has to develop over time. You're going to have new employees coming into this culture, and you're going to have them bringing their personalities and their skill sets, and that culture will drive from that. It's a collective of everybody, and that collective does take time. So it's not going to be something that we can rush through, and it's not going to be something that happens overnight. And because of that, it can be really frustrating and hard to work on that timeline. And the last point of everybody's not going to get it is that some people are going to have to leave. It is the bottom line. It is hard to understand, but there are people that are going to become obstacles to your lean implementation, and they may be employees that have been with you for a very, very long time. But if they don't start changing, they're not going to last in your new culture. And if they don't start changing the way they think, they're going to be an obstacle that battles you everywhere that you're trying to fix. So as you're trying to fix this area, if they're in that area and they're being resistant, like really resistant, it becomes a problem really fast. And as Tom Hughes says in his book, Improvement Starts with I, sometimes you have to change the people or change the people, and you can't always fix everybody. Think of it like a bus trip. You're on your way home from school on the bus, and some people get off at this stop, some people get off at that stop, some people go to the last stop. But you have to think of people in your business almost as if they're like on a bus, and you don't know when their stop off the bus may be or when their season of life with you has ended, but it is the cycle of life. And not everybody is going to want to make changes, and not everyone's going to buy in to this new way of thinking. One, it's very challenging, and we become very challenging when it comes to business and how we operate. No longer do we just accept the status quo. No longer do we just accept failures. No longer do we accept just showing up and doing your job. We expect you to improve your process. We want you to eliminate waste. We want you to make your job better. We want you to make your workspace cleaner. And all of those things are challenging, and some people will not get it. And no matter how hard and how much effort you put into them, you're just going to end up finding out that you're wasting your time, and that it's better to look for new options to replace that person, or maybe move that person into another area where they won't be such an obstacle. And the number 3 trap that I fell into, and I feel that so many people fall into, is you think that 3S is magic time. Oh, 3S. It's so glorious. We're going to start 3Sing. The whole business is going to change overnight, and we're going to see everybody making improvements, and nobody's going to be cleaning because we're going to tackle all the areas that need to be cleaned by doing root cause analysis. Well, that's not the truth. And 3S is very freaking difficult. It's hard. And everywhere I've gone, I've seen the same thing, people struggling with 3S. And it seems like it's such a basic tenet of lean, and you implement it, and you do this great job of sorting and getting rid of all the crap you don't need, and you sweep up and everything looks better. But to go to the next level of 3S is not something that is going to happen organically or easily. 3S is 100% needed in your business. If you're not doing it, you must do it. You have to start. You cannot standardize if you have a mess. You cannot standardize a work area if they have more than what they need in their work area. You can't start making the process changes you need if there's a bunch of junk in your workspace. How do you expect them to have the space to do the work or do the work the new way if they have a table full of all the old crap that they no longer use or haven't used, or in some cases for employees, they've never touched it the entire time they've worked here. So you have to do 3S. So if you're not doing 3S, you must do this now. But understand, it is a necessary evil because it is hard. The one thing with 3S that I didn't realize was that it required so much discipline for myself and my leadership team. I often think that we can just implement 3S and everybody's just gonna run off and it's gonna be unicorns and rainbows and everyone's gonna be making improvements and it's, oh my gosh, it's gonna be the best thing ever. That's not the case. You have to get out on the shop floor. You, the business owner, you, the management team, you must get on the shop floor and 3S with them. You have all day to make improvements and 3S your space. You need to help them 3S their space because you need to train them what 3S looks like and how to get to where we can eliminate waste and eliminate mess so that we can work on improvements. But often you're going to find is that people love to just grab a broom and sweep and talk about the Lions game and how great the running backs are. And they don't really want to get down to business. They almost look at it like it's free time. So you have to be there to nudge them. Hey guys, I'm paying for this. You know, the point of this is to improve our job, not just to keep cleaning up after ourselves. And the last point with 3S is that improvements are not easy. Improvements are difficult. Now I know you're saying, oh, well, you just do simple improvements and everything changes. Yes, but you have to get people seeing it first. They don't know what an improvement looks like until you can work with them and show them what an improvement looks like. And if you're like my company, we had ratcheted up what our improvement level looked like to the point where people coming in, the cost entry was very hard. It was like, oh my gosh, I made an improvement. Well, at least I thought I made an improvement by updating this Kanban card, but really an improvement looks like this, and it's, oh my gosh, they rearranged their workspace. They rearranged all of their tools. They made new shadow boards. They used Kaizen Vault, all those things. You're like, well, that's not what I did. So I'm not even going to share. And because of that, it becomes very difficult because updating a Kanban card, that is an improvement. It is a change that you made to make it better. And those little tiny changes matter. But when everybody on your leadership team is firing off these crazy process videos that they have worked on for an entire week, and we're just looking for you to make a video of how did you fix something today? How did you stop and fix something today? So what I failed to do was to actually focus on bringing that barrier down, taking the gate away to allow people to make those little improvements and feel the success, because now we have new employees here and getting them to see what an improvement looks like, make a video, and then live up to the standard that we've established is very hard. And we have to remove that. So now it's a matter of stopping and fixing and showing them what stop and fix looks like, and then making those small improvements. So those are my 3 pitfalls or traps that I fell into during my lean implementation. Now I want to give you guys 3 tips to accelerate your lean implementation. Let's start with number 1. Go and visit other companies, because you cannot see what lean looks like if you've never seen it. So you must go and visit. You can't stay in your walls and close off your team. You have to open it up and use everybody else's experience to help move yours forward. But here's the thing. You can't just go and visit alone. You must take your team with you. If you're the only one going and visiting and going and seeing, they're never going to have takeaways and they're never going to grow as fast as you are, because you're getting the experience, but they're not. So don't think that, oh, it's cheaper and easier if I just book this flight by myself and fly down to Texas and visit Lamar Trailers. No, you must figure out a way to get somebody else going with you. Take 1 person, take 2 people, take 3 people. If they're local, take 10 people, or make multiple trips, because that's how they see what your expectations are going to be. They can't experience it if they've never seen it. Now, when you get into a lean tour and you're visiting a company that's doing it at a high level, you have to step backwards and try not to digest it all. It can be so hard to take in what you're seeing. Everything is wild and changed and hard to see. And you're like, oh my gosh, that makes sense. Oh my gosh, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. You can't digest it all. So what I recommend is looking for a takeaway from a lean tour that you can bring home and implement tomorrow. And what are those action items going to be? Maybe you can focus on 1 or 2. You can't do them all. You're not going to be able to mimic somebody else's company. You're going to have to do it your way. But you can take those ideas and you can take those strategies and you can implement them. But take action. When you get home from a lean tour, make a change. Change a morning meeting slide. Make a change to your 3S schedule. Whatever it takes, whatever you saw, implement it. Don't wait. Just implement it. I just want you to understand that all of the lean community Their doors are open. They want you to come because they want to learn from you as well. And you may say, well, I don't have anything to share. You absolutely have something to share. Your experience and your perspective is so different than my perspective and my experiences. So I can learn from you. Even if you've only been doing lean for a month, I would like to come visit you and I would like to see your things because I will come home with something that I saw on your trip. Now, make sure that you're doing the same thing though. Open your doors up right away, because people need to come in and they need to see it. Don't say, oh, I'm not lean enough, or I'm going to wait a year, or I'm going to wait 10 months, or I'm going to wait 2 years before I invite people in. If somebody asks, let them come in. Let them come in, let them give you advice, give them advice, and grow together. So number 2 is simple. Just go and look for the struggle or the burden on your staff. This is as simple as just walking the shop floor and seeing a struggle and then start there. We often talk about Gemba walks and what a Gemba walk means or what it is exactly, but you have to get out on the shop floor and you need to walk around and look at your team, and you're going to watch them work, literally watch them work, and you're going to look for struggles and burdens that you can remove. It could be something as simple as they're unpackaging a box and then they're setting the box onto the floor. And then later they're picking up all the boxes off the floor and they're walking across your building to throw it into a recycling bin. Now, we can take some action on that right now. We can go and get the recycling bin and we can bring it closer to them so that they don't have that same struggle. Try to eliminate over-processing where you can, because that adds up to so much burden so quickly. And once you've spotted burden or struggle on your team, work fast to remove it. Find a way to reduce that burden, and you will find that they buy in even faster. And then rinse and repeat. You're going to be doing this over and over and over again when you start with lean. And this is the fastest way I've found to actually move your implementation forward. You go out on the shop floor, you watch your people work, you look for the burden, you start removing it. And then as you remove it, they go, oh, that felt good. I really like that. And then you do it again and again and again, to the point where you're starting to look for the smallest burdens. But initially, when you first do an lean implementation, you're going to find big burdens really fast. You won't have to go very far before you're like, oh man, that person's bending over a lot. Oh man, that person's carrying something really far away from their workspace. Oh man, why are we asking them to clock in and clock out of an ERP system when it's taking up 30% of their time? And that is where you make big changes really quickly. And my number 3 tip is take time to explain the why. It is so important to explain the why to your staff. It helps them understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. If you simply go out and make changes in their area without explaining it, they're going to want to fall back to the default, which is the traditional way of doing whatever it is that they're doing. Telling your team the why will help them develop and understand what you're doing. So if you're going to change a workspace or a work area, but you don't take the time to tell them why you're doing it, they're not going to understand. And because of that, they're going to want to fall back to the traditional way that they know how to do that task. That's the task that they've done every day, and that's the way they know how to do it. They're automatically going to think it's better than the new way, unless you take the time to say, this is why we're making the change, and this is why it's important, and this is why we need to try this experiment to see if we can move it forward. Next, it builds trust. By taking the time to be transparent with your team, instead of just forcing improvements onto them or forcing changes onto them, they will start to trust you. And if you can explain to them why it works, in the future, they will give you the benefit of the doubt, and they will want to know why it works, and they'll ask you. Now, oftentimes, we want our employees to just get it and understand it and know right now how to do it. But they have to learn to see. And the way that you can teach them to learn to see quickly is by explaining why we're doing things, or why it matters, or why this change is important, or why this reduces burden. And if you can start to show them the why, they will start to understand and they will start to see it. They'll start thinking lean, they'll start being lean instead of pretending to be lean to pacify the changes that you want to make. Now that I've shared with you 3 traps that I've found in my lean implementation and 3 suggestions for how to move your implementation along faster, now I want to dig into some tips for you. The first thing that I would recommend that you try to do is start to create a journal. And that journal can be actually written out in a binder, or you could do video journaling if that's your thing. But make sure you're doing it, weekly, so that you have a way to look back and see the progress that you've made. It's really easy to forget where you came from when you're constantly focused on where you want to be. And because of that, it's very important to have documentation that shows the progress that you're making and your company is making. Because at that point, you may say, oh my gosh, we're not moving fast enough. And then you may look back a month and be like, oh my gosh, we have moved so far in just 1 month. So I highly recommend that you find a way to create a journal so that you can keep track of your ups and your downs as you go through your lean implementation. As my good friend Edwin Proper would tell you, make sure you focus on your people, period. Hard stop. Your people are the most important thing in your entire building. The systems and the processes, they do matter, but your people matter more. And if you fix your people first and get them seeing what you're seeing, they will create the systems and the processes for you. Then you don't have to do all the work. It is really hard to throw everything over your shoulder and then just walk it down the road. But if you can get a whole group of people collectively working towards that goal, you're going to move so much quicker. And your staff is going to develop and they're going to become more valuable to you. And for the last tip, please stop comparing yourself to others. It will rob you of every piece of joy that you have in your lean implementation. When you go and take a visit at somebody else's facility and you see how great they're doing things, don't sit back and say, oh my gosh, we suck. We need to be them. Say, wow, that was amazing, but we also are amazing. If you continue to compare yourselves to others, you're going to fall short of those expectations every time. We cannot be other companies. I cannot be CD Matters. I have to be Fat American Manufacturing. I cannot replicate FastCap. I have to be me. Our implementation is going to be different. Our company is going to look different. Our company is going to feel different. And our lean implementation is going to be very, very different than everybody else's. So make sure that you stop comparing yourself to everybody else. Just focus on your implementation, your team, and what you can do to move it forward. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Lean by Doing podcast. If you have some tips for people, some pitfalls that you've come into, some traps that have held you up on your lean implementation, please drop them in the comments. Also, if you have any recommendations for people for their lean implementation, also put them in the comments. I'd love to open up this community to other people who are struggling and looking for direction or feeling that they're falling short, and show them that we all are in the same shoes that they are. Also, before you run off, drop into the video description and there will be a link down there for our lean toolkit. It's free. You just have to sign up for it via an email, and then you'll have all these things that we offer for lean implementation. It's all free. All free of use. Modify it, use it however you need it, and keep checking back because I'll keep adding more as we go. So as always, thanks for tuning in, and I will catch you guys on the next episode.